Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of June 3rd to the 9th of 2024. Alright, so this week we have a new moon on Thursday, and so as we do approach Thursday, it is the ending of the current lunar month. Good to usually let the energies die down a bit, maybe have some completions so that we can create a bit of that space for these new beginnings. And then around Thursday, perhaps setting some new intentions and slowly starting to see some of these new perspectives or new things that can be coming into our life as part of this new lunar month. Now the new moon will be conjunct Venus, and this will be activated earlier in the week on Tuesday. So the planet of values and connections, Venus, will be conjunct the Sun. So this marks the halfway point between the Venus and Sun cycle for a little over a year. And so the energy here is all about perhaps getting a new intuitive perspective on what we value, and perhaps also our relationships as well. So good to listen. Usually on a conscious level, it's not very active. The Sun can drown out the Venus energy, but on an intuitive level, an inner level, good to connect and reflect perhaps internally when it comes to our values in life, and perhaps starting to notice some new things coming out of that. Now the new moon will also be squaring up to Saturn, and this will take place more so later in the week when Venus and the Sun will square Saturn on Saturday and Sunday, so perhaps a good weekend here for a bit of patience and discipline, and challenging ourselves to do that with the square. And earlier in the week, last week we had Jupiter trining Pluto. This is this sense of perhaps self-empowerment and feeling a bit like we're willing to make some changes in our life, and this is getting activated again this week with Mercury. So Mercury will be conjunct Jupiter, trine Pluto on Tuesday, and so perhaps a bit of an expansive mind, maybe seeing some potential, some opportunities, and again, perhaps a bit of a deep mind or empowering mind in communications, which can often come out of that. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, June 3rd. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. Mainstream astrology of all kinds don't use the actual size of the constellations, i.e. the visible sky, in terms of how the constellations appear visually. So the signs are different. You will notice a lot of the placements are different. Like, for example, I'm saying that the new moon is in Taurus, and maybe you're expecting it to be in Gemini. So if you are new, definitely check out that link down below for more information on using the visible sky, called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so let's do a little bit of a recap here in terms of the major transits that we have this week. No major sign changes this week just yet, but we did just recently have a bunch of planets enter Taurus. Well, a couple weeks ago, the Sun and Venus entered Taurus, and then last week, Mercury entered Taurus. So this is really gearing up for the new moon, and again, it will be on Thursday in Taurus, and so it's a great time, even before that, to be focused on cultivating our inner and outer resources. Taurus, the bull, is all about connecting with that inner strength, those inner resources, which can be natural abilities, natural talents, natural gifts, but perhaps the more universal type, which would be self-reliance, self-worth, self-value. It's really good to cultivate those inner resources. And as a result, the external resources, perhaps a good time to be focused on nature or beauty or aesthetics or abundance in our life in general. And we're certainly having some new beginnings with that this week. We're certainly having some new values coming in with the Sun conjunct Venus here, and certainly thinking this way with Mercury as well. So a lot going on there. Mars is finishing up Pisces here this week, and so it's all about getting more receptive, as it has been with our actions. And so Mars, the planet of our drive and our assertiveness, in watery Pisces, has been a reminder to connect with the flow of life when it comes to what we want, when it comes to our goals, when it comes to our actions. And so it's still definitely going on this week, but it's certainly worth noting that this will be the last week here with Mars in Pisces, and then very early next week, Mars will shift into a much easier energy where he's much more comfortable, which is Aries, much more about the initiative and the assertiveness there. All right, so let's go ahead and start here with the beginning of the week. We've got a lot of energy still coming off of the weekend, and I would say the most significant one is this Jupiter trining Pluto. So we talked about in the last weekly video how we have the planet of expansion, Jupiter, in good harmony with deep and transformative Pluto. And we talked about the importance of self-empowerment, perhaps being open-minded to possibilities of change and transformation in our life. And so this is certainly going on this week still. Now we are after the contact, so we're in this more separating energy of it, but it's really good to be implementing that. So again, anything that can be open-minded, we can be open-minded about that we know will maybe require facing some fears, maybe mustering up some personal power, and being willing to transform things is really good. And this could be a very constructive week still when it comes to those kinds of energies. Now the moon will be in Aries both Monday and Tuesday. And so here, as we start to, again, end the current lunar month as we approach Thursday, again, most importantly, it's good to let the energies die down. But in this case, with Aries, it really is completing the previous lunar month. So anything we can finalize this early part of the week with in regards to our actions, in regards to where we've been taking initiative in our life, things we've been proactive about, maybe our wants and desires. This is all coming to that completion, and perhaps there's some things to tie up in regards to that this early part of the week, these first couple of days. And perhaps just noticing some themes around, yes, how can we incorporate what we learned the past lunar month in regards to taking initiative, in regards to expressing our needs and cultivating the things that we want in life for ourselves. This is very much the Aries energy, very independent, very assertive, very much centered around what benefits us. And then as a result, of course, then we can see how that benefits others. But it does start with us, usually with, especially with Aries here. All right, so that's these first couple days here. And then for the Tuesday, we do have this Venus-Sun conjunction that's going to be part of that new moon. And so again, the planet of values and enjoyments, Venus, is marking this sort of halfway point with the Venus-Sun cycle that we have. So this can, first of all, drown out a lot of Venus energy. I will say this is considered a combust energy, meaning that if we were to look at the sky, we wouldn't even see Venus, which can be symbolic for, from the conscious mind's perspective, we're not able to see outwardly what it is we want, what it is we value, what it is we enjoy, and what it is we want to connect to, and even perhaps some of that relationship stuff. So from an ego level or outer consciousness level, a lot of this can be either unseen. It can sometimes even be where it's a bit too much energy with the sun, so too much of a kind of short-circuiting, if you will, too much of that fire when it comes to these things. But what I really want to express about this is that in the inner sense, this is very much like Venus is going into that unconscious or into that underworld, and here to bring up some things that we maybe weren't aware of before. So a good time to be inwardly attuned to what we value and to how we're connecting to things and people in our life. And in this way, this can be a very significant conjunction where we start to become more aware, overall aware of what we value, what we enjoy, what we want to connect to, and of course our relationship energy as well. So good to just be receptive, good to listen, maybe meditate on some of this stuff, and perhaps noticing a new shift here, because from the unconscious, then yes, things can arise to the conscious in regards to these values and these relationship energies. There can be some insights here and some new perspectives, most certainly. So great day for this kind of intention with these kinds of things. And again, from the ego level, just being a bit perhaps non-attached at the same time. But this will definitely be part of the new moon as well, starting on Thursday. Now, also on Tuesday, Mercury will be in conjunct that Jupiter trine Pluto we just talked about, regarding being open-minded about transformation and change and empowerment. And so here we could have perhaps a bit of an open mind, most certainly, and perhaps a bit of an empowering mind as well, and perhaps even empowering communication. So good to, again, particularly from the mental level, be open to those new perspectives, maybe even from a communicative level, discuss or talk about these potentials or perspectives. And again, also with the mind, a deeper energy is very supportive here. Research, uncovering deep things, truths, what it is we really deeply want in life, and communicating that as well. So a great day for that here around Tuesday. So as we start to shift into Wednesday, the moon will go into Taurus. That's really starting to gear up for the new moon. Again, new moon on Thursday. So Wednesday, just really a new moon day, gearing up for it, connecting to, again, the resources of life, cultivating those inner and outer resources, which is really what this whole new lunar cycle will be about. Perhaps setting intentions with that on Thursday. And then as we start to get into the Friday time, the moon will go into Gemini. We'll slowly start to notice a little bit more momentum here, slowly for the lunar month. And this Friday and also Saturday time can be really good for a bit of that inquisitiveness. So Gemini coming after Taurus shows us that it's good to be curious, be interested, be willing to learn, and perhaps it's a good couple days to do that. Now, once we get to the weekend, we really feel the square with Saturn. That's part of this new moon. So both the Sun and Venus will be squaring Saturn. Saturn is all about the patient long-term road, and in a square can perhaps be a little bit challenging to do that. But if we can challenge ourselves to do that, i.e. we're setting that intention, we're willing to do it, we're building those muscles to do it, this can be very good. So a weekend about seeing the long road, a weekend about being patient in general, a bit disciplined, maybe a bit persevering, can all be really good. And it'll probably be involving multiple areas of our lives, but in the fundamental sense, how we view life with the sun, and then also how we're connecting as well with our relationships and some of those values. So even though there's definitely some new things coming up with values and abundance and relationships this week, over the weekend, it's a reminder that perhaps it's good to take it slow, perhaps it's good to see the long road, and perhaps bring in some of that discipline into the mix there. So that's going to be the weekend with the squares of Saturn there. And then just on Sunday, the moon will be in Cancer, so it could be a good day for a bit of that protectiveness, maybe creating that safe and secure environment for ourselves and others. All right, so everyone, that's the week in a nutshell. Most important thing is Thursday's new moon. It's the ending of the previous lunar month, gearing up for the new one. Good to let the energies die down as we approach that, maybe do some completions with things, and perhaps start to set some new intentions and new perspectives coming out of Thursday. Now, as we do end the lunar month, we still have that expansive Jupiter trine deep Pluto. So good to be open-minded about empowering changes in our life. And this is particularly in terms of how we're thinking about things with Mercury, and perhaps even involving some of that communication as well. Then after the new moon, we start to get in, and of course, earlier in the week as well, this Venus Sun, which can help us gain a more inner perspective on our values and our relationships. Okay. And then after the new moon on the weekend, a bit of a square of Saturn energy. Good to be patient, disciplined, and challenging ourselves to do so. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you haven't yet gotten your True Sidereal report, there's a link down below for that. It's absolutely free. And there's also a paid report if you'd like the full one as well, but do check that out if you haven't yet. And again, thank you so much for all of your support, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.